Godzilla vs. Kong is a 2021 monster movie from director Adam Wingard, serving as a direct sequel to both Kong Skull Island and Godzilla King of the Monsters, as well as the fourth entry in Legendary's Monsterverse. 5 years following the defeat of King Ghidorah, Godzilla emerges once again, but something is completely different with the King of the Monsters. He's attacking humankind, seemingly at random. At least that's how it appears to Monarch and the rest of the world, but Madison Russell, played by a returning Millie Bobby Brown, who survived the battle between Godzilla and Ghidorah, believes Godzilla was provoked since he directly attacked an installation for big tech corporation Apex Cybernetics, with the help of her close friend Josh Valentine, played by Julian Dennison, and technician turned conspiracy theorist Bernie Hayes, played by Brian Tyree Henry. She sets her sights on exposing what's got Godzilla behaving so erratic, and meanwhile, Apex CEO Walter Simmons, played by Damian Bashir, recruits former Monarch geologist and the Hollow Earth theorist Nathan Lynn, played by Alexander Skarsgård, to lead an expedition into the Hollow Earth, said to be the home world of titans like Godzilla, for a power source that Apex can harness into a weapon to kill him, which, with their guide through the Hollow Earth being another king. Fucking Kong! So I'm going to level with you here. Godzilla King vs. Kong is exactly the movie it promises to be. Adam Wingard and Warner Brothers sold this movie as a turn-your-brain-off, grand-scale spectacle that sees two legendary cinematic monsters going at one another, which is apparently what the Monsterverse has apparently been building up to thus far. Like Jordan Vogt Roberts and Michael Dougherty before him, Wingard has committed to washing the foul taste of Gareth Edwards' feces out of our mouths by delivering the movie he promised instead of spending 2 hours stroking himself off and telling us how clever he is. While Godzilla King of the Monsters still attempted to blend compelling human drama with entertaining spectacle, Godzilla vs. Kong throws the human drama mostly out the window in favor of the spectacle, expanding on the world of the Titans and delivering on its promises of monster-centric spectacle by making Kong the protagonist of the story and throwing away the drama in favor of focusing on the battle between the King of the Monsters and the King of Skull Island. Can you believe I've actually seen people complain that this movie has too much monster fighting and not enough human shit? While the primary complaint about Godzilla 2014 was that there was too much human shit and not enough monster fighting? For fuck's sake, people, read the title. It's called Godzilla vs. Kong, not Lifetime Channel presents Godzilla and that girl from Stranger Things versus Kong and that guy who once played Tarzan in a movie that everybody's long since forgotten. Complaining about the excess of monsters fighting in a monster movie is like bitching about the excess of car shit in a movie literally called Need for Speed or The Fast and the Furious. Thankfully, Wingard understands this. The movie definitely excels in the spectacle department, thanks in no small part to the outright gorgeous special effects. It could be because I was watching this at home on a 4K TV, but the CG in this film is easily some of the most beautiful I've ever seen in a movie, flawlessly blurring the line between the real and the digital. The monsters display real weight, their blows against one another have actual impact, and they're not treated as unstoppable beasts. In previous movies, we generally have a feeling that Godzilla and Kong would make it through the battle okay, but there are numerous cases in this movie where one or the other could very easily lose, especially Kong. Let's put it this way. Think of Godzilla as pro wrestling legend The Undertaker, the lone wolf who comes in, rips ass, and fucks off, and Kong as Die Hard series protagonist John McClane, regular dude way over his head, but not the type you should count out just yet. Of course, this is all abundantly crystal clear thanks to wide, steady framing that gives every frame of this movie a very comic book feel, and editing that never once veers off into insufferably choppy territory. As for the human cast, I'll be honest, most of them are wildly forgettable, starting with Alexander Skarsgård's Nathan Lynn. The guy is meant to be a reluctant hero like Indiana Jones, and again John McClane, but instead he comes off as standard McDefault, much like Aaron Taylor Johnson's character in Godzilla 2014. Okay, maybe not as forgettable as Ford Brody, perhaps, but still. Now, Millie Bobby Brown's return as Madison Russell is a very welcome one, and not just because I happen to like her character in King of the Monsters. She's actually grown into a more independent character following the film's events, adopting a more take charge personality, which is something that I personally have always gravitated towards. She's the one who recognizes early on that Godzilla is being provoked and rightly sets out to vindicate his actions. Joining her, of course, is Julian Dennison as Madison's close friend Josh Valentine, a loner nerd who attempts to serve as comic relief, and Brian Tyree Henry as Bernie Hayes, a technician turned conspiracy theorist hell bent on exposing Apex Cybernetics, who is constantly clashing with Josh for resident comic relief. Joining Lind is Rebecca Hall as anthropological linguist Eileen Andrews, who is Kong's supervising scientist, somewhat similar to the character of Peter Elliott in Michael Crichton's 1980 novel Congo, though not as memorable. Damian Bashir plays Apex CEO Walter Simmons, the human antagonist of the film who believes the Titans are the end of mankind and is building weapons that can kill them. I'm sure Godzilla fans can guess where it goes from there. Shun Aguri, I'm pretty sure I just butchered the shit out of that name, plays Ishiro Serizawa's son Ren, who is working with Apex under the delusion that killing titans like Godzilla will benefit the planet. Kaylee Huddle plays Gia, a young deaf native of Skull Island, the last of her people, in fact, who shares a certain bond with Kong and can directly communicate with him through sign language. And making minor appearances are Kyle Chandler, reprising his role as Madison's father, Mark Russell, now Deputy Director of Special Projects for Monarch, and Lance Reddick, who had previously appeared in Wingard's 2014 gem, The Guest, as Monarch Director Guillermin. I'm thinking I'm reading that correctly, and I'm pretty sure I just butchered it at the same time. Reddick originally was meant to have a bigger role in the movie, but his appearances were ultimately trimmed down to two very short blink you'll miss it scenes. And apparently WB themselves were impressed with Wingard's handling of this movie, because word is he's been tapped to direct their long in development hell Thundercats movie. If Adam Wingard can make Thundercats half as enjoyable as Godzilla vs. Kong, then my fellow Thunderans are in for one of the most badass 80s cartoon-based movies since G.I. Joe Retaliation. As for Godzilla vs. Kong, watch this movie.